Okay, so it's time to do the final page in my volume of the dolls. And the last two peeps that I'm going to be adding into this journal are these two. Now, I've chosen these two for a couple of reasons. Firstly, male and female. Secondly, they're both wearing coats and hats. And thirdly, they're both pretty much the same size. And the colour sheen on them is kind of the same. Some of these paper dolls, the sepia toning is different on each one. These are pretty much uniform, or enough of a difference not to really matter. So, and I like these two. I think they'd make a rather lovely couple. So Eunice and Eustace, we're going to call these. I do like to call my little paper dolls names. Eunice and Eustace, like it. So before I get started on creating the actual page today, I'm actually going to paint or cover both of these two. She's got a little bit of a crease on her leg. I'm going to actually cover them both in clear gesso to get rid of that telltale shine, because everybody knows how much I hate it. So I'm just going to pop my journal to one side for a second, and I'm just going to get some kitchen roll. Just a couple of sheets. And I'm going to put both Eunice and Eustace on there. I've got the clear gesso already. Oh, I just need a paintbrush, a small enough paintbrush. There we go. So I can get into a bit of a wash. That's it. We'll get some of that. I'm nearly out of clear gesso, so make sure I go over the whole figure. Now I may have to do this more than once, because sometimes when you're brushing, you're actually brushing the gesso on, then you're brushing it off again. So if you can hear clicking in the background, by the way, we're joined by Ian today, who's working on his computer on a rather special project, but we're not going to say what it is because we don't want to give anything away, do we?
We don't. Good afternoon, everyone.
Or morning,
good morning or good evening. Crazy.
The wonders of the interwebs.
Interwebnet, yes.
24-hour society. Open 24 hours. Open all hours.
Good type for a TV series.
It is. So let's just give those a quick brush over, and then what we can do is we can get it dried off really quickly, and then we'll be able to see if we've missed any spots or we need to go over with a second coat, or third in their case, because they're already wearing coats. Okay, so have we missed anywhere? Can we see any shine? There's a little bit on Eunice's coat, a little bit on Eustace's coat too. So we'll just quickly give that the once over. And then just trying to see where I've missed. I think that should do it. One of these days I'm going to treat myself to some spray. You know, that matte clear spray. Why I've not thought of it before, I don't know. What did you say?
Nothing will stick to it.
Nothing will stick?
No, if you spray it with an aerosol spray varnish, nothing will stick.
No, not varnish. Like a clear primer.
I wouldn't take advisement on that.
Maybe it's something I need to look into. Once the shops are all reopened again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's Eunice and Eustace de-shined. Yep, can't really see much there. And there's not a lot there. Although there is a little bit of paper stuck to Eunice's shoulder. Is there a little bit left on his coat? Can't really see any. Good. Okay, so they're both done. We can put the gesso away. Not very organised today. Oh, let's screw the top back on there. Bring those 2 pages back in. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, I want to add some paint to the pages, a little bit of a paint effect. So to do that, I want to use some Deco Art Americana paint. So I've got slate grey, and I want to add some blue. So I'm going to use Indian turquoise, and then I want to introduce a little bit, just a tiny bit of green. So that's going to be my colour scheme for this page. So we're going to go kind of like in that order: grey, green, and then blue towards the top. For now, and I'm going to use all Americana paints. But what I wanted to do was to just add the colour by using a brayer. Let me see. That one will do. This one, because it's about the right size for the page. So first things first, I'm going to add the darker colour, which is going to be the grey. I want some scratchy paper, a bit of scrap, that'll do. You can tell I'm very much prepared today, can't you? Not. Okay, give it a shake up just to make sure the binder's nicely mixed. And then we can pick some of that paint up on the brayer, and then I'm going to start bringing it down I'm going to add a fair amount of the paint. I don't want to see too much of the writing on the page when I'm done. So I'm going to try and kind of obscure it quite a bit. But I do want some of the writing still to be seen. I want you to be able to still see that it is a page. But I like that kind of scrabbly, uneven kind of effect you get with the brayer, because you never know, like Forrest Gump said, you never know what you're going to get. So not a lot of writing on this side, so that's fine. Maybe just a little bit more. So one of the challenges in doing this volume of the dolls has been trying to create the pages using, you know, a variety of Tim Holtz's little peeps, but also trying to make sure that when I create an art journal page, to vary the technique for the pages so that they're not the same on each one. So once you're done, you can look back through the book and see a variety of different techniques that have been used, because I think there's nothing worse than going through a book and just finding the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So I've tried to use different techniques, different products, different
everything.
Yeah, different everything. Thank you for that. I forgot you were behind me.
It's going to dark lonely waters.
Yeah, so just bringing that colour from about a third of the way in, and then bring it down over the top of the grey, and that kind of blends it nicely to a kind of seamless transition. Well, I'm hoping a kind of seamless transition. I might be blowing my own trumpet a little bit there. Yeah, so using a variety of different techniques, a variety of different styles of images, if you like, and accessories for the pages. So some I've used butterfly wings, some I've used string, some I've used other collage images, and some I haven't used anything but the doll. Like on this one, all I'm going to be using is paint, the brayer, the two dolls and some stenciling, and obviously the words that I want to use as my focal point for the page. And that's going to be it, because you know, you don't want to go too mad all the time. Sometimes restraint, less is more and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not good at that.
Restraint?
No.
No, particularly when chocolate's involved.
Or journaling. Doing the journals.
Well, yeah, you do tend to put a lot when you're creating your journals. You know, when we're referring to this, when we're talking about like art journals rather than your...
Yes.
Okay, so across the top. So we can still see you've got the blue, you've got the green, and then you've gone into that slate grey at the bottom, which is cool. And again, it's one of these techniques that even if you tried, you probably wouldn't be able to replicate it exactly. You'd maybe get something similar, but you'd never get an exact replication of the texture, because the texture is really kind of dependent on how the page is wrinkled when you've stuck them together, and a myriad of other kind of things that you get, which will affect the way the paint lays down. It depends on how warm it is, all that kind of stuff. So okay, there's my first layer. You can still see that there is some writing behind it. You've got those colours, the grey, almost a purplish kind of lilac heathery grey, if there is such a thing, with the green, and then you've got that nice kind of blue motley sky towards the top, which I really like a lot. Okay, so what I need to do is get it dried off, and then, as they say in Yorkshire, I'll be right back. Okay, so background's all nice and dry. I haven't stuck Eunice or Eustace down just yet, because I want to add a little bit of stenciling in first. So this is the stencil I'm going to use. This is the Roundel stencil, which is one of my designs. As you can see, this one's extremely well loved, but totally and utterly neglected because I never clean my stencils. And I want to add some of this wavy dots in the background, but I want to do it so that we've got the point going that way, getting thicker towards the end. Then I want to do the same thing at the other side. But what I want to do is I want to add in the colour, but I'm going to use some vintage photo, so some browns. So, but I want to just position it just so I've got it whereabouts Eustace is going to stand. And then I'm just going to gently go around in circles and add that stenciling right into the middle, including the outlying kind of circles as well. If I can get into that corner without creating a line, it'd be a blooming miracle. Ooh, you're doing heavy sighing over there. Is it not going well for you?
It's going very well. I'm just waiting for the computer. It's steam driven this afternoon.
Ah, right. Okay, so got that up top, so I'm going to flip that over to that side, and then let's just put Eunice where she needs to be. So there's a hat there, that'll do nicely, and then I can repeat that pattern at this side. Go right to the edge. Swirl in circles all the way around, and then hopefully get right to the inner core, if you like. Get some of those towards the top, get those ones down at the bottom, and hopefully I've managed to get that very first one. I'm going to lift that off. Yes, like that. I like it a lot. Okay, and what you can do if you just want to fill in a little bit is just add a little of those little dots up in the corners, just as kind of corner borders. And you can always position it back over if you don't think you've got it in the right place or you haven't got enough. About there, and just darken it up a little bit. There we go. So we've got that. I also want to add in some text just in the background. So I'm going to lay, this is the Art Is stencil from the Crafters Workshop, TCW. Again, one of the very first stencils that I ever purchased when I started art journaling. Mine is extremely well loved, and like I said, totally and utterly. Oh, hello. That's eBay telling me something's been updated or is finished. What was I saying about the stencil? Oh yeah.
Unloved.
Totally distracted then. I should have turned the phone off. Anyway, first one that I ever bought when I started art journaling, and it's probably never been cleaned, so it's totally and utterly neglected, but I like it because it's also a really, really, really all-purpose stencil. So if you only ever buy one stencil for art journaling, make sure it's one that has some nice text on it, because it really does go a long way. So you can do so much with it. So just across. Yeah, perfect. Just what I like. Just what we likes. Right, throw that to one side. Back in my little box, ready to be put away again. Now it's time to add my little characters. So Eunice first.
What are they called, Mike?
Eunice and Eustace.
Oh.
Which is a bit more common names than what you named the last lot.
Yeah.
Aesop and Edward you called the last two.
Was it Aesop?
Yeah. Which I think you said was biblical. I don't think it is. I think it's Greek.
Well, there's Aesop and the Bendigo, isn't it?
No, that's Aesop.
Aesop.
Yeah. Aesop, I think, it's like Aesop's Fables.
Of course. I apologise, yeah.
So let's just do...
Was it done with me?
What?
Done with me.
Oh, a dumbwit.
Yes.
Right. That's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eunice over there, and Eustace. Yes, I think may have been Greek.
I'm sure we'll find out presently.
I'm sure we will. In fact, I'm probably sure that the video that you mentioned the name on has probably got the comments underneath it saying exactly where the name comes from.
Oh, good. So it's any message.
But seeing as I haven't uploaded that video yet and nobody's seen it,
It's like being a time traveller, this,
it
isn't
is. Eustace's leg keeps cocking up.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why I wanted to add the stencil in before putting the characters down, because I wanted to overlay the hats, if you like, with that stenciling at the back. Okay, I need to let those dry for a bit so that the glue grabs, and put something a bit weighty on there just to hold them down, and then I'll be back in a few minutes, which will give me a chance to pop the kettle on, or maybe give Mr. Bentley a snuggle.
You can find him.
He's on one of the beds.
He's in one of the beds?
No, he's on top, I can see him.
Oh.
Right, back in a moment. Okay, so the next step is going to be just to add a little bit more grounding on Eunice and Eustace's feet. So I'm going to use what I normally do, which is my Stabilo All pencil, and just add a little bit of that colour just underneath. But what I want to do is just extend it right the way across the page, and this will be what connects the two together. So even though they're at opposite sides of the page, the grounding will be what kind of binds and holds them both, grounds them both together and makes them part of the same composition. So they're almost linked by the grounding. Well, they're not almost linked, they are linked. Now if you don't have a water soluble pencil, then it's okay just to use what you've got to do this. Just use a coloured pencil. It doesn't have to be water soluble, it's just what I prefer. But you use what you prefer and what you have. Make sure I've got plenty of water in the brush, there we go. And it's going to look really, really dark to start off with, but trust me, when it's finished.
I'm like you though, I panic if it looks dark, but you know it's going to be right.
Oh, yeah, because it's all part and parcel of knowing your product. You know. So what I'm going to do now is just with the brush add a little bit more water and then just work it down. And each time you do it, it'll start getting less and less. So just leave it for a second and it gets lighter and lighter. Each time you add a little bit more water to it. And then if you want to, you can just grab a tissue, like so. It's really quite easy.
You know what you're doing.
Well, one would hope after what, 5 or 6 years of art journaling, I would have picked up 1 or 2 little tricks and got to know my product a little bit.
I agree.
And learning how your products work is part and parcel of, you know, being able to master your tools, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's like a craftsman learning how, you know, his chisels work or that kind of thing. What paints to use on what materials. If it gets too light, you can just go back in, dry it off and add some more. So let's just flip that back around again. Now we've got some nice grounding. And if you don't like it, take some of it off because it is water soluble. So if I go back now, just lift a little bit of that colour off. See? It just kind of makes it so the grounding's still there together, but it does connect them across the page, which is exactly what you want. And one of the things that I always think about is people saying, "Oh, I bought this new product and I don't know how to use it." Well, you won't unless you start using it. You know, it's like everything else. You can take driving lessons, and be a rubbish driver. It's only when you actually get out there and start practicing and start doing it that you improve. So practice makes perfect. It's an old one, but it's still so true. Right, okay, off my soapbox now. Right, so I want to start adding in my quote at the top of the page. So I've already printed off from my computer. So I'm just going to just snip off the words individually, and I'm going to add a little bit of distress first of all. So let's just move the book out of the way. I don't think I've rambled quite so much in our page for ages. Right, so what we got, that's not the one I want. That's no,
it's not rambling, it's sharing ideas.
Is it?
Yes.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Or in my case,
Unconsciousness.
Unconsciousness. Antique linen. Let's use it as soon as it's already out. So let's just add some of that. Okay. And then some to that, just to get rid of that stark whiteness off. I should have printed a background colour on this, I think. That made it a bit easier. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it?
Literally.
Watching somebody distress something. It's like, come on. How interesting can that be?
But I think it's quite magical the way it works.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
This, I printed this on my Epson Workforce WF2630, the one with the permanent ink.
Yes.
And the distress ink has actually made it smudge.
Really?
A little bit. It's kind of gone a little bit blurred, which I don't mind. Don't mind. Right, now that I've got that on, I'm going to cut it down. And then what I'm going to do, now that I've got colours on there, I'll leave that as 2. Because they're only small words. Little worms.
Little worms.
Grab the vintage photo and we'll just go around the edge. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we've got a little bit of dark colour around the outside just to make it pop a little. Let's bring the page back in. So by now you'll have probably gathered what this is going to be called. So I'll put that there. That one. It's going to go there. And then that one it's going to go right the way across here. Even the paper dolls can't get away from it. Okay, so what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to introduce a little bit of a border, but instead of it being a scrabbly one, I'm going to use this protractor straight edge just to add some dashes. To a double line. So it looks as though they're both standing in a queue. And being good citizens by observing the 2-meter rule. Okay, now I don't know why I'm putting that pen away. So just for a bit of a giggle, I'm going to just draw around that one. Do the same with that one. I think I'll do that one there. And I think that's going to be it. I think I'm done with that page. So that is it. That's the final page in my volume of the dolls, possibly volume 1. So I'm just going to quickly sign that and date. And I'm going to call that complete. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that last page. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.